Welcome back to another episode of the One-on-One Podcast. My name is Josh. For those that see me on camera right now, you can obviously already see my guest. And for those that are just listening, I'm going to introduce my guest at the beginning. Arkadiusz, you are our VP of Technology. I knew you. What was your title when we met?
Oh, man. That was, 7 years ago?
7 years ago. Almost, probably more than 7 years ago.
Research and development.
R&D,
that's right.
And so I think you've worn a lot of hats at this company. It's weird that this is your first time on the podcast. I feel like we should have had you on a long time ago. You've done so much for this company. We have you on for a very specific reason today, which I want to get into in a second. But before we do, I want to introduce my co-host, Kathy. Kathy Baker, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. And then also what are we calling you on this podcast? Should we call you Savag? Just like, you're like a Brazilian, just like one name?
Just one name, Savaginho.
Yeah, Savag is here producing the podcast. He's providing his words of wisdom. He's the voice of God. We're happy to have him. We are kind of burning up a little bit in our studio here in Laguna Niguel. And all right, I'm just going to get into it, guys. I like to ask these questions that have nothing to do with the episode that we are about to record, because I like to just, icebreak a little bit, get to know each other. I think our network knows Kathy and I and Savag are big sports fans. For those that don't know, Arkadiusz is also a huge sports fan. We worked very closely together for many years, and we are both big soccer fans. But beyond that, I want to know, guys, what is your biggest, that you believe in, sports conspiracy theory?
Sports conspiracy theory. That's a good one.
Do you have one, Savag? I know you have one about soccer in general.
I have several. And, first of all, I want to squash a conspiracy theory that Jordan did not foul Byron Russell. And my other conspiracy theory is a certain international organization that controls a certain sport that you play with your feet allegedly fixes games.
Put it in terms that our network understands. Savag thinks that FIFA is corrupt and that they've been fixing soccer games since the dawn of time. I don't disagree with him.
I think that makes three of us, but that's a rabbit hole, right?
What about you, Kathy?
I think what Netflix does best is documentaries.
Yeah.
There's a documentary on officiating in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And it was confirming to me a little bit, confirming, whichever. But it made me so sad. But I'm like, God, they're all on the take. But
did it make you, because I know I've seen it, Kathy, and does it make you question sport, not just the NBA, but just sports in general, and what is fixed and what is not?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, same.
Absolutely.
I believe with soccer just being this huge worldwide sport, you're talking different leagues, different areas, countries. There's got to be something somewhere that for every probably one corrupt person, they've got 1,000 more that are doing the same exact thing. They just go under the radar.
But then here's my thing, and we will get into the episode quickly, I promise, but because we could really go down this tangent hole. If there really is, if things are really fixed, don't you think we would have found out by now? Don't you think there's someone that would have said something?
Yeah, VAR.
Well, yeah. Yes, yeah.
Well, the conspiracy there is the referee won't go to the screen, even though the hand is on the ball or there.
Oh, there's mine. That's mine. The hand of God. All right, let's actually get into the episode. All right, Arkadiusz, why are you here? Let's just start there.
Ooh, that's a good question too.
Yeah.
You got good questions today. I am here to talk a lot about technology in general, right? I really want to dive into some of the conversations around AI. I think there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of thoughts, a lot of probably misconceptions as well around artificial intelligence, where it's going. We've done an umpteen amount of research over the last probably 12 months, looking into what it does, what benefits it brings, and where it can really help more than hurt the world. And I'm just giddy about it. I'm super excited about it because there's a lot of opportunity there. And so that's really what I would love to get into today, is let's really dive into that world of AI, talk about debunking some conversations, questions, and
All right, okay, that's great. I love that. And I know, Kathy, I'm sure you probably have a million questions, because I know I feel like we've danced around this subject, 10, 12, 14 episodes, and we have a real expert. Not that we haven't before, but I think Arkadiusz is very niche you're looking at this from not only from a agent standpoint, from a broker owner standpoint, but also from us as a company, right?
That's right.
How we operate as Realty One Group, and how can AI best be implemented in our brand. And so what have you seen with your team in the last year and a half?
Can
Yeah,
I
go
set
ahead.
this up? Can I set this up a little bit before that? Because I want to dive into a little bit about those that don't know Arcadius, just to say a couple of things that our company does extraordinarily well. Marketing, of course, kudos to the marketing team, but kind of one of our secret ingredients, I think, is Arcadius's team.
Oh, thank you.
And they work magically behind the scenes. And one thing, because I've been involved with other organizations, and especially when we talk about a big layer like AI, I want to say the consciousness and the awareness of Arcadius's team to make sure that everything we introduce to the network plays well together in the sandbox. One of the advantages to having an internal, I'm going to say research and development because I'm old, but to have a technology research and development team that vets things before introduction, because so many organizations I'm been with and I work with now go, well, that didn't work. And I don't think we do that. I think we pivot on the vetting before we have to pivot on the introduction. And that's what Arcadius and his team do extraordinarily well. So when we introduce a big, vast conversation like AI, I want the network to know, although this may be the new and this may be the evolving tool, it's something that is going to amplify everything that we have and not cast a shadow on it. It's going to complement it and not conflict. Is that fair?
I love that. That's a great way of putting it. And at heart, I mean, that's where I really began, was research, right? And I still love it. I still do it to this day. And even between meetings, we'll look up an article that just pops up, right, that talks about some of the benefits and new things that we can do with AI. And I think we should just dive right in. Let's kick it off.
So then what have you and your team seen? I mean, let's backtrack really quick. We all as a society kind of saw AI become a part of our world in the last year and a half, 2 years, where we all started using ChatGPT or some form of that. And it's grown from there. But what have you guys seen from from you guys actually handling the technology side of things for our brand, and then also supplying the latest and greatest tech ideas, resources to our franchise owners and agents? Like, what have you guys seen?
Yeah, great question. So we'll kind of just let's set the definition first, right? What is AI? AI is artificial, right? It is something that has been built. There's a database, and we're going to get a little nerdy here, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a nerd at heart, but when you look at the database and what needs to happen in there, a lot of that magic happens within the database. A lot of people just see the front end of ChatGPT. There's a search box where you can ask it questions, right? But behind it all sits umpteen of terabytes of data that has been collected over years and years of research, books, things like that. And what is AI is, if you look at what ChatGPT says and you ask a simple question, what is the weather today? To give you an example. What ChatGPT does, it goes in a certain space in a database to say, okay, it's asking about the weather. It picks out the most important information. It's asking about the weather. I need to go to my weather section. I'm going to go and I'm going to grab the most important information. But it doesn't understand the question you're saying. It just knows the words that you're saying. There's no such thing as common sense yet. That's one of the things that they're trying to build out, right? Which is human intelligence as part of AI.
Right.
But AI is artificial. So it goes to the database and it says, okay, I'm looking for the weather. I'm going to see that thousands of times when someone asked this question or this question was prompted, it's going to say the first word is this. I'm going to say this. The second word is weather.
Just patterns.
It's just pattern recognition, right? And so it goes and does that for you. So when you ask it, hey, if I bite an apple, what is the taste of an apple? It doesn't understand the taste of an apple. It just knows that 1,000 people, when they talked about tasting an apple, it tastes like this, right? So that's really when you talk about AI, that's really what it is. Now, ChatGPT, been around since 2022, fantastic product, right? So Kathy, going back to your point, how can we utilize AI? It's looking internally and looking at your workload and saying, okay, how can I have a goal? ChatGPT is not going to help you with your goal setting, right? It could if you have the North Star. That's the most important piece, right? So I know that one of the things that we're trying to do is rebuild some of the pieces of zone that we have. That's our North Star, right? Now I can go to ChatGPT and say, okay, this is still everything that is in zone. I'm just giving you a pragmatic example. This is everything that we still have in zone. I would like to go ahead and piece it all apart, and then you give me a roadmap for what that looks like. That's how you would utilize it. But the problem is a lot of the times when you use a system like that, a lot of people don't have that end goal in sight. So they're asking questions and they're getting a great answer from it, but it could get better. Yeah. So the question you need to ask yourself is, what is my North Star, number one? And then how can I take my workload that I'm doing and how can I triple myself or 5X myself? There's a very popular term in engineering world, which is a 5X engineer, 10X engineer. That is a person that can do the work of 5 people. That is a person that can do a work of 10 people. And AI doesn't necessarily replace that unless you are a huge bloated company. You're seeing that a lot with Amazon, with Microsoft, where they have thousands of developers, right? And we're not going to go down that hole, but you should ask yourself as a person, how can I 3X myself with the utilization of AI? But you need to know what that North Star is. If you know what that North Star is, significantly easier.
So let's pretend then that you are one of our broker owners. And obviously, like you said, someone's North Star is going to be different. It's a case-by-case basis. But let's say that they have then honed in on what their North Star is. They then can utilize, whether it's ChatGPT or the thousands of others, AI tools to then get to that North Star. That's
100%. Yeah. And again, recruit, retain, and train. Kathy, you talk about this all the time, right? First thing I would do with ChatGPT is ask those 3 questions. Do not stop at the first question. And that's one thing that a lot of people do is they kind of get an answer, but they don't want to review it. They don't really want to go into it. They say it's good enough. Think to yourself, how can I ask another question, a follow-up question, right? So if you ask a question about recruiting is, what is my way that I can recruit, let's say, an agent from a different brand? You can name ABC. It's going to give you a prompt and it's going to give you back. And then you say, okay, great. Now, knowing that I want to target, let's say, ABC Realty, how can I really target my conversation to the strengths and weaknesses of potentially that company or the things that I could do better as a broker to try to bring those agents over? How do I talk to a top producer versus they're trying to bring someone in who is maybe a fresh agent, right? Or an agent that just got licensed. Those are 2 completely different conversations. And Kathy, you can probably talk about that more than I can, but utilizing AI to do that legwork for you alongside you because you're the expert and the professional in your field to recruit agents, retain agents, and make them more profitable, huge opportunity.
Savag, I know we've talked about this with our team a lot. I brought this up during one of our meetings, I don't know, like 6 or 7 months ago. And I remember I used the verbiage of, okay, everyone pretend like you now have an assistant that you no longer have, and you don't have to pay for them. So what are your asks for that assistant? And what is your low-hanging fruit, your current responsibilities that can now probably be done 80 to 90% complete via, and I'm not just saying ChatGPT, there's, like I said, there's many, many, many other forms of AI technologies that they can be using. But so I guess it's more, I love the idea of North Star, and I'm totally going to steal that from you. But we like to talk about, like, what is your ask? Like, what are you, and that's more than just writing the prompt. It's what are you actually, like, what's the answer that you are trying to gain from this? And being very specific with knowing what you want to ask.
And to give you a little tip, the best idea you could do to start is write a job description for what that assistant would need to do.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Write a job description or get it from ChatGPT, right? It can write it for you, augment it to the needs and wants of your business, and then throw that into an AI assistant to say, okay, based on this job description, please prompt me with, say, 2 companies, 3 companies that could do parts, if not all of that job description. And that could be another way that you can utilize that.
Let's talk like beyond the idea of just chatbot versions of an AI. What have you seen with your team? I mean,
it's amazing.
Seriously, like give us
Incredible.
without getting too granular in the weeds, like what have you guys seen that has just sped up operations, sped up processes, made things, that it's 100% mistake free. Like what have you guys kind of seen in that?
So I'll give you my personal example, right? So as a product owner, one of the things that I kind of dread is writing requirements. That is a very, very big thing that we need to do on our end in order for developers to know exactly what they're building. It needs to be very clear, it needs to be concise, but a developer needs to understand what they're going to build, right? So one of the things we've implemented on the AI side is no takers. But again, how do we take it a step further? That's kind of the question we always ask ourselves. When we go into requirements gathering or discovery sessions for IT, when we gather those requirements, we then transcript all of those things that have been talked about, and we take that into an AI assistant and we say, okay, can you please transcribe this and write some of the requirements for us? And that we can take and actually, again, reword, rebrand, and do our own thing with it. But that saved us probably anywhere between 10 to 15 hours a week of just requirements gathering. And again, that's just a single place, right? our developers are utilizing AI on the back end for QA testing, for being able to test their code into the future, right? So there are a lot of things that can be utilized with the AI. You just need to have that.
Kathy, I think Ark brings up a really, really good point of his team saves 10 to 15 hours a week on utilizing these technologies. I mean, from an agent standpoint, from a broker owner standpoint, you think about that from your own weekly schedule and just the amount of time that you can save to be used elsewhere. You just free up time during your week. And I think that that's something that people are very fearful of AI and the future that we're moving into, which I understand. I'm sure we all felt this way in 2000 during the dot-com boom, but you can also look at it from just what you gain from it. Just how much freedom, how much skill, how much expertise you are now gaining from this brand new technology that's only getting better.
Better, and some people may say scarier.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of it. If you're afraid of it and you're afraid of trying to, just try it.
Well, we started this episode on conspiracy theories, and I don't want to go down this road, but you brought up the idea of like actual human thought, like that doesn't scare you at all?
It doesn't. And I'll give you a reason why. When you look at where AI has gone in the last 2 to 3 years and where it's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years, we will see it. In our lifetime, we will most likely see someone get married to AI. And I can probably vouch for that, and I'll give you $20 if I'm wrong. It's scary to think about.
Hey, Kathy.
Bets on who's going to do that.
Kathy.
It seems like an episode out of Black Mirror, but it is something that is ahead of us, and it seems extremely possible.
Can I ask a question? If someone wants to get married to AI, could you take AI to a Coldplay concert?
Let's hope that that's still relevant when we publish this episode.
It should
It
be.
will be. Those memes are going to live a long time. Just let me tell you.
So when you talk about, AI is scary. We've seen this. We haven't seen it at this scale, right? When you talked about dot-com boom, talked about the 90s, there has been new technology. People 700 years ago were afraid of the printing press.
Right.
Right. And it's just human evolution in general. But this is one of those things where
the jump was so massive.
It was so massive in such a short span of time, and we are playing God. We are trying to create something that doesn't exist, right? And we're trying to create something that appeals to us as humans. So it's a very interesting thing to look at for the next 5 years, for sure.
Can I go into a sanity with Savog session? Are we ready for that segment? Ark said really something important earlier, and I think everybody did. When you can use tools to buy back your time. And how do you identify areas to buy back that time?
Yeah.
Dan Martello, the book I'm reading right now about this, and he outlines the quadrants of how your time is important as a business owner and someone is trying to grow the business, and the tasks that can be done better by others or using tools like AI to do it. So you use like an 80-20. You use a 20% of your time to kick it off, and then find another resource that can do 80% of the work the rest of the time, or even 70, and then you finish it off at the end, where your time is best developed or spent developing business.
I love that. I mean, Savog, you and I keep saying we now have and we work, all of us, all of our individual teams at this company are small, nimble teams that do a lot. We wear a lot of hats, a lot of moving parts. And you and I always emphasize, like, we now have the time to strategize more. And it's a great feeling to be able to sit there. Go ahead, Kathy.
I want to pull it apart a little bit more for our listeners as far as from a real estate perspective, because a lot of times when I talk about AI, it's kind of like a word problem. And those of you that know me know when I do math word problems, I break out in a sweat and I get hives and a lot of things that are not pleasant. But I want people to recognize if you're listening and you're in the 70% of the realtor population, 70% of our professionals who are successful are emotional decision makers, meaning you're either a high S, meaning you're steadfast and loyal, or you're a high I, which means you're an influencer. What is unnatural for both of those two behavior styles is critical thinking. When you have to pull down into critical thinking, I'm not talking about common sense, that's different and it's rare, becoming more rare. But when you have to move into a critical thinking mode, it takes you out of what is natural for you.
Yeah.
What is very natural for Savog is critical thinking. What is very natural for a high I is the total opposite. Allow AI not to threaten you, but to complement you by doing the things that take you out of production that take you out of what you love about real estate. And that's critical thinking. So when you go in and exercise what Ark is talking about and you say, give me the protocol, give me the steps, give me the best practices for whatever that activity is, because I love the relationship, but the activities are uncomfortable. That's where it complements you, and that's where you start to evolve with AI, and it becomes a foundation of your business and not a threat. But it's about mindset. It's about how do I use this to complement me what I do and allow me to do what I love more and do the critical thinking.
Can I piggyback off of that? That's fantastic. And Kathy, I will expand on that a little bit more. As a real estate professional, again, everybody knows this, it's a relationship business, right? We got to ask ourselves, would a human purchase a home with an AI agent, right? Majority of them will probably say no. Majority of them will say no because there's so much more value that a real estate professional provides than AI. Yes, will they use AI for home search? Yeah, they already do that with Zillow. Will they use AI for maybe reviewing a contract? Sure, they could do that, right? But that relationship piece that the agent holds, that's the key, right? And Kathy, you nailed it. As a real estate professional, if you can utilize AI to do the grunt work, to review contracts, to do the things that you frankly don't want to do, right? To maybe do follow-ups or additional things that you as a high D or high I you don't necessarily want to do, that's where the biggest opportunity happens. And you already have agents who are utilizing AI, right? They're not utilizing it for automated emails to clients. They're going to personalize that email. And what you'll notice in the next couple of years, you'll see more AI emails and you'll actually gravitate towards people who will send you a personalized note, a personalized email. Because you'll know, even now, you can probably tell when an email was sent with AI. It was thrown in ChatGPT because and it just seems, some people take it as lazy, right? So you can actually make yourself stand out by doing the little things you've been doing for the last 50, 60, 75 years as a real estate professional. You will actually stand out more.
Yeah.
I was going to say, to start to close the loop on it, what is so significant that I want every listener to sit up a minute and listen to this is, we talked about conspiracy theory in sports when we opened this conversation. There's always going to be, I may go on Zillow and I may look. One thing that I think would be threatened by AI would be the appraisal process because that's data, right? But am I going to trust that? No, probably not. The biggest financial investment of my life, I'm going to go to that trusted value guide and the person navigating me to validate what's in AI. So I want to close the loop on that. I believe the imperfection of AI to me is always going to be good stuff in, good stuff out, poop in, poop out. So until somebody can validate that what's in is accurate, I'm not going to trust it. However, the person I am going to trust is the professional.
I agree.
I would trust an AI referee over some of these soccer referees.
That's a great way to frame all of this. I would say, Kathy, to sum up everything in the simplest words, if I were to market this episode, I would say, don't let AI doesn't need to overtake your business. It can boost your business. I think that's the best way to look at this is don't be fearful of it. Use it.
Leverage it to create more opportunities.
That's great, Savag. Leverage it to create more opportunities. I think that's a perfect place to end. Ark, I'm bummed that it took us almost 100 episodes to have you on. We'll definitely have you back because, we could talk this until the cows come home. And I think our network's really going to gain something from this. I think the next time we have you on, the technology's probably going to be even more advanced, and that's something to be excited about.
And we won't see you at a Coldplay concert.
Yeah.
Oh, I will not be there.
All right. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Ark. Thanks, Savag.
Thank you, Ark.
Thank you, Kathy.
You.